So Nikki implemented things that players wanted. Infinity Nikki is doing the exact opposite still. They're removing things that players actually enjoyed about the game. Infinity Nikki is giving away a free 10 pull plus additional rewards only to Chinese players. Only to Chinese players. Not global, Chinese only. In a shocking turn of events, they are exhibiting favoritism for a specific region. It's almost like they didn't learn from Black Beacon. It's almost like they didn't learn from Persona 5 to Phantom X. No, they did not. The post itself is from a person asking what the English version of the new Chinese code is, but according to the comments, there is no redeem code for us global players, which is the first time that this has ever happened. I checked the redeem code list on the Infinity Nikki subreddit and the Infinity Nikki redeem code website, and it is true, there is literally no code for global. So yeah, China is getting a free 10 pull because Infinity Nikki got 1 million followers on Weibo while we get nothing. Funny how the Chinese players still get the rewards from the Steam launch milestones though, right? Oh, really? Okay, so, okay, let's rephrase this. Let's put this in a perspective here. There exist multiple different regions, multiple different versions of the game. We have China, we have global. China has their own socials, global has their own socials. Upon hitting milestones for global rewarded global players. China, which has nothing to do with global, also rewarded players, but the Chinese players for global's achievement. China hits a milestone. China rewards Chinese players. Global does not get rewarded for China's milestone. So China gets rewarded for everything that happens. Global gets rewarded only for the things that global achieves. Ha! Wow. That's not favoritism at all. Is this even surprising that a certain player community gets more and another gets none? I mean, if it means that China is getting global's rewards as well, yes, that is actually a surprise. Starting to happen with many gacha games nowadays, and it's pathetic and disgusting. Let's go ahead here and see what the Reddit thread says though. Have they dropped? Infinity Nikki is currently at 2.1 stars. They're slowly making their way back up. What do you guys think that rating will drop to after more people realize that they're not getting the rewards that China's getting? What do you guys think it's gonna drop down to? 1.7, 1.8, 1.5? Their lowest was 1.4, which actually Persona 5 is slowly inching closer to surpassing. No Chinese players would riot if the opposite happened. Does anyone have the English version of the new redeem code? Comes with 10 pulls from the permanent banner. So currency, 10 pulls, resources. I found a post on Rednote with the code, but it doesn't seem to be working for me on the American server. Apparently, this is it, but I'd say it's only for Chinese users. I mean, that looks like it's for Chinese users. Apparently, the code expires in a year. It was given to celebrate 1 million followers on Weibo, so maybe we won't get it since Weibo is a Chinese platform. Did you know that the Chinese server got the rewards for Steam achievements? I'm not sure if they even have Steam in China. I can't imagine they wouldn't have an equivalent reward. Chinese players are known to get mad if an award is exclusive to the point where they will threaten to quit games. Oh no, they threatened to quit a game. How terrible, because global achieves something. These companies don't seem to mind screwing over Western players. Exactly, 100% truth. I did look into it a bit more, and apparently there is a code for Weibo players for reaching 1 million, and Chinese commenters were noting how it feels unrelated and to HK and international servers. Infold chooses to give very good rewards for things only Chinese players could accomplish, so that global player base is excluded with a good excuse. Nice. If they did this the other way around, Chinese players would riot, and that is a truth. Infinity Nikki is probably, arguably, one of the most frustrating gacha games out right now. The reason I find it frustrating is that they have a good game, a very good game. They have the foundation of the best cute social experience in gacha form. They nailed the execution of it. Every person that has played Infinity Nikki, that still plays Infinity Nikki, loved their game, and then they fumble it on every given opportunity, right? Like, they could be rewarding, they could be inclusive, they could be generous, like Wuthering Waves, like Kudo, like Nikki, like Blue Archive, like Arknights, but they don't. And the reason it's frustrating to me is because there's no competition out right now that motivates them to improve or do better. So as an example, Genshin started showing significant improvement when Wuthering Waves came out. Because WuWa started doing all these things right. They started listening to the player base, they started listening to their community, they started implementing features that Genshin had been promising, that players wanted from Genshin but never implemented. Hoyo started taking note. They started doing things in Genshin for the first time in years. They started implementing new things in Honkai Star Rail. They started changing things in Zenless Zone Zero, all because WuWa and Kudo provided them competition. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. So what frustrates me is that Infinity Nikki has no competition, therefore they are allowed to do anything they want, treat players however they want, and get away with everything. It's players all over social media, Reddit, Twitter, Discord, they're constantly voicing how disconcerted they are, how upset they are with the state of everything, how they wish for something more positive, and it always falls on deaf ears. And the reason it falls on deaf ears is because they don't need to actually address it. They can just ignore it, and players have two things they can do. They can either just suck it up and move on to another game, or they can keep playing. And the majority of them keep playing because there is nothing to replace this with. Why do you think they're making a lot of bad decisions? Because there is no competition at all. Competition breeds innovation. That's why people are like, Anata's gonna destroy NTE, and then the NTE players are like, oh, NTE is gonna destroy Anata. WuWa's better than Genshin. Genshin's better than WuWa. The reason that all these games are constantly improving is because of that level, that degree of competition. The competition breeds innovation, and we as players, we benefit from it. So the reason that they are exhibiting such a stark degree of contrasting greed comparatively to what was exhibited before is because there's just nothing stopping them, no other game stopping them from doing that. Like both GTA and anime, hey, I think both are gonna be fun games. If it wasn't for competition, all these games wouldn't rest on their laurels. Exactly, yeah. This game right here, Infinity Nikki, it needs competition. We need another game just like this to come out and to do to this game what Kudo did to Genshin with Wuthering Waves. It doesn't need to be better. It doesn't need to be bigger. It just needs to be a threat. The threat of potential loss of revenue, potential loss of players is enough to impact the game and force improvement. Because if you don't improve, then you're gonna be left behind. As a mainly ZZ player, I want competition to spur the game to be better. Exactly. Like, I don't, like, so many people, they hate the WuWa versus whatever games, or like the Genshin versus whatever game comparisons. They're like, when WuWa was announced as competition for Genshin players like, no! When Azure Familia was announced, like, no! Anansa, no! No. All these games releasing, being direct competition for Genshin, being direct competition now for WuWa, that is good. Because for Genshin and WuWa to remain the best open world gacha games right now, they're gonna have to be even better. Next year, they're gonna have to be better than they were this year, because the competition is going to be stronger and harsher than it was this year. So they're gonna need to improve, implement new features, better features, graphical overhauls, quality of life improvements, things to make the games better. Because if a game is better than one of the existing games, people are gonna play that and not Genshin. That's the reason why WuWa is as popular as it is, because WuWa did a lot of things Genshin should have done and didn't do. If WuWa just did what Genshin did, but the same or worse, then it would have suffered the same fate as Tower of Fantasy. The reason ToF failed was because it was a shitty version of Genshin. The reason WuWa has succeeded is because it's a better version of Genshin. Not in every area, but in enough areas where it matters. You pass on Genshin and WuWa, your team ZZ and Nikki, dude, that is perfectly fine. I think any game like Anata or Neverness, they're gonna provide ZZZ ample competition to improve their game too, which I think is great. Open world games get a lot of competition nowadays. Exactly, it's gonna force open world games to become even better. And that's just gonna benefit all of us in the long term. The Chinese exclusive stuff killed my joy of Love Nikki. I've been on the lookout of the treatment creeping into Infinity Nikki. If it looks like they're comfortable doing this on the regular, I'm out. So I've got other games to play. Of course, they did this in Love Nikki too. They never learned to or improve. And that's because there's no competition. Commenting to push this, I need this. Yep, there you go. Has this been addressed here on the subreddit? Scrolling down, it does not look as though they have discussed this any further. You know what? Maybe we can sort by newest. Yeah, let's sort the comments by newest and see if anyone has addressed it. Kind of follow in the steps of our fellow Chinese stylists and riot loudly until Infold gives equal rewards for everyone. They have not. As of 2 hours ago, there's been nothing said. Nothing at all. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.